Requirement 5 will be very, very brief. I've already addressed this in the prior requirements, but we're just going to look at, because we can't lose focus of what we're trying to do here. There's so much detail and minutia with these bonds that the ultimate goal is to show the investors and the creditors what obligations we have out into the future that are long term, affects our solvency and so forth, and whether they consider us risky. So at the end of the first year, I want you to tell me how much does the balance sheet show for bonds payable for each group of bonds. I'll be very brief here because it's very simple once you've got the tables and you understand what's going on here. Bonds payable are of course going to be a long-term liability. They're due way out into the future. And when the Group 1 bonds have no discount, no premium, the bonds were issued at face value. The rule of thumb is the bonds payable will always be reported at their carrying value. Carrying value at the end of the year, which we'll get for this bond, it's $1 million every year. We can't really go wrong. Face value shows up every year until they mature. So somewhere in the long-term liability section, you show $1 million due for the Group 1 bonds. Group 2 bonds, a little bit more challenging, not really, because you would have a section in the long-term liabilities. Again, these bonds aren't due yet for more than one accounting period out into the future. And it will also be shown at carrying value. However, the carrying value seems to be changing every 6 months because we make an interest payment. And so at the end of the first year, you would show bonds payable carrying value of 1,064,626.23. And so this is the amount of the face value netted with the premium. The premium always makes the face value a little bit larger. And so that would show up for this Group 2 portion of the bonds. Now, bonds are typically squished together, so you'd have 1 million plus you'd have 1.064 million. And then you'd have the Group 3 bonds. You'd have those also in bonds payable. And then in the notes, you might have some disclosure as to the composition of your bonds payable, showing the terms of the different portions of the bonds and so forth. So this bond payable would also show up at its carrying value at the end of the second interest payment period, because really this is what the carrying value is at the end of the first year. 2 interest payment periods have pretty much passed. So 935,362.